Hello and welcome. We're so happy to have all of you here. Welcome to our viewers on Facebook. Welcome to our viewers on YouTube. We are live here today, tapping into your own inner wellspring of hope and independence with Nicole Frolic, Christian Escobedo, and myself, Amber Freeland. Welcome, Nicole. How are you today?
I'm good. It's so good to be here with you two.
Yes, always.
Hi, Nicole.
How are you today?
Good. Scoot back a little bit. There you go. The lights. A little bit.
Turning into the Terminator?
Yeah, it's a cyborg.
All right. So, Nicole,
Yes.
I would love to give you the opportunity to say hello to your audience as well and see how everybody's doing as they jump on and join us live here today.
Yeah, it's so good. Thank you to my audience that is here. I love you guys so much, and you've been so fantastic with your emails, your comments, everything. I just appreciate it so much. You guys just make my work so much fun and worth doing for sure.
Mm-hmm. Yep, and hello to everyone in the Trinity Room family. We see you guys jumping live and joining us. Let us know how you're doing today, please.
Welcome, everybody. We got a great show today, right?
We
what
do.
What are we talking about?
Oh my gosh, we're talking about hope, independence, sovereignty, and we have a couple secrets up our sleeve as well. So as you jump on, let us know what comes up when you hear those terms. And how about you, sweetheart? What comes up for you when you think of sovereignty?
I mean, this couldn't be a better time to talk about sovereignty, independence, and also hope. Just because look at the landscape that we're in right now with the world. Look at everything that's going on. It really comes down to your beliefs around sovereignty and independence. What do you think, Nicole?
Oh my gosh, everything is to do around sovereignty right now. When you think about just a virus and what that is, it's about invading your own, your boundaries of your skin, your body, everything. So it's an incredible metaphor that is happening right now that is causing everyone to, I think, tap into what it actually means to be free. What it means to have your own independence, whether it's health, whether it's financial, whether it's in your own country, in this world. Like, you can go up to the macro and right down to the micro at this point.
Yeah, absolutely. Good point. The macro and the micro. So for me, it really comes down to your belief systems. So I think it's a good way to reflect on our belief systems, because the extent of your freedom, the extent of your sovereignty, whether it's finances, health, time, relationships, it's going to be filtered through your belief systems. And if your belief systems are indicating that you cannot be free, I think that, or that there are some chains in some area of life, I think that it's going to be difficult. Even the chains in, let's say, health, or let's say relationships, it could affect other areas like your wealth, like your health. So looking at one area, because what this COVID thing has done, or let's call it CV so the algorithms will like us a little better. What this thing has done is it's said, hey, we need to look at one specific area, and not from the outside perspective, but we need to look inside. What do you think, Amber?
Yeah, I think it's given us no choice but to look inside. I think that a lot of us have been called for a long time to go inside, although we were trapped in areas of our life. Sometimes we knew it, sometimes not so much. In jobs that we didn't like, in bodies that we weren't feeling good in. And I think that people have had goals for a long, long time to deal with those things and to take the time to do them, but they weren't. And so I think it's pretty interesting that the universe has called us to have to actually do that in this time.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, I know for myself, and I'm pretty sure that you two are on this train as well. But I have really wanted to put more effort into expanding my business and growing it and really taking it into a direction that I know I can reach more people. And this whole situation has kind of lit a fire under my butt
Yeah.
to really do it. And it's not from any other place, but I can just see there's a massive need right now. And it's also part of my mission, and I'm sure it's part of yours, to just step up when you need to be called, when you're called upon. And the creative flow that's coming in right now, the ideas, the energy, it's so supportive right now to growth. Now, depending on where you're putting your energy, that growth may not be in the areas that you want it to be. That's why it's so important right now to be intentional and to be aware of where your focus is going and where you're putting your energy. And so right now, I'm just using that right now to connect with people, connect with my audience, connect with new potential people. And it's been really, it's been a blessing for me in many ways.
Yep.
Yeah, absolutely. It's
We're in the
literally
same spot.
Yeah, the definition of focus is to eliminate all the distractions, and the universe has basically put that in front of us right now. It's like, stop all the distractions, everybody. Take a breath, relax, and focus.
Yep.
Focus on what you love. You don't need all this crazy stuff going on the outside. You need to focus on your internal work, passion, your relationships potentially with yourself, your relationships with others after you've tuned in and worked on your relationship with yourself. Now you can focus on relationships with your family because there's no job in the way.
Right.
You know, and there's going to be a lot of people that get scared about that too, you know, because it's a change. And I think where the fear is coming in is they don't know what the next move is. So what would be a next move? What do you think, Nicole, a next move for somebody in this position? What have you done during this time of focus?
I've just been really focusing on what lights me up inside, like what gets me out of bed, what am I so passionate about, and how am I leaving my legacy behind in this world, and what is my legacy exactly, and really connecting with that and getting very clear. You know, this whole thing really puts a lot into play of how much time do I actually have on this planet right now, you know? And I think that's a question that a lot of people are asking and we're being faced with because of, well, there's a lot of fear being propagated out there. But at the same time, we just start to think about life and death and what does it actually mean? And, you know, if now is like the big play that a lot of us been waiting for, you know, that big open doorway. It's like I see a big castle and like the dungeon doors or whatever are lifting and like there's a huge opening. Like, what are you now bringing forth? Like, what are you bringing to the table? And what are we all going to feast on right now? And I just, you know, I just kind of focusing on that of like, what am I going to bring to the table? Because I love a good potluck and I want to make sure like my meal is like damn good.
Right. Yeah.
How about you, Amber? What do you think? What's been the focus for you? What can people do right now during this time where there's the elimination of distractions?
Yeah.
For a lot of people, not for everybody. You know, there's people that are going through pain right now too, but what can they do?
Well, I can tell you this from the inquiries that we've had when people wanted to learn, you know, more about how to be healthy and more about how to create online business in this time. What I was so excited to see in connecting with people is that they've always had a dream deep within. It wasn't a new idea to present themselves, the idea of creating wealth for themselves and independence in their own life. Like I said before, now they're not pulled away from that. They have nothing but time to do that. So it was really, really fulfilling to learn people have these deep dreams. Maybe they have some subconscious beliefs that haven't allowed them to manifest that yet, but it is not a completely new idea. Most people want to create that independence in their life. And so it's just a matter of going within, taking the time to really feel, what do you want in this life? Because I can tell you this, after all these years, people don't usually allow themselves to admit how grand their dream is. And there really is nothing that you can't be and do and have while you're here on this planet. Like Nicole was saying, we don't know how long. We've never known how long, but that's become a little more apparent. There are no limitations. There are some things to navigate if it's your first time learning that or really stepping into that idea. But taking a minute to actually be brutally honest with yourself about how big your vision is for this life and allowing yourself to go there and find gratitude for that manifesting, which it is.
So what does that look like for you? Like, how do you start that process?
Personally?
Yeah.
I have a huge vision of specific situations that I would like to see myself in over certain periods of time. Mm-hmm. And so I spend every morning and every evening in a process going into those moments and feeling the excitement and feeling the emotion and tons of gratitude and knowing that that time exists, that it will happen. And asking for guidance as to clarity for my next steps in that move, in the direction of that thing. But I spend a lot of time in my mind in that place that I'm working towards.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think it's so important to take actions in any way, shape, or form. It doesn't matter how small or how big it is. As long as you're continuously taking some sort of action towards it that reflects a successful potential in what you're looking for to create, I think is so important. Like, I've started reaching out to all different kinds of people, and in some cases they're big fish when it comes to like YouTube channels or podcasts or anything like that. But if I have the mentality of like, well, there's no point in reaching out to them because I'm such a small fish right now, they wouldn't take any interest in me. Mm-hmm. Well, that's like, I think about Wayne Gretzky's, his quote of like, you miss 100% of the shots you never take.
Right.
And I know personally that I can go toe to toe with anyone in a conversation about this stuff. Doesn't mean that I won't have anything to learn. Of course I'll have stuff to learn. That's why I want to talk to these people,
totally.
Because they're going to expand my ability to think differently, think outside the box. And I'm all about like taking chances and seeing where the chips land. And I think that's what we've got to do right now. You can't have fear. I mean, when you look at what's happening on the world stage right now, like there's some big stuff happening. When I think about like, for instance, even just military and what they have got to go up against, they can't allow fear to ever be an option. It doesn't mean they don't feel it, but that can't ever be the thing that prevents them from moving forward. And we've kind of got to, when we talk about light being light warriors, you really need to be a warrior, and you've got to step up to the plate. And we all have that within us. We all have that capability. It's just a matter of tapping into it and taking steps towards it to build it like a muscle.
Yep.
Interesting. I just thought of this right now. I don't know if it's relevant or not, but I'm doing some internal work over the next couple of days. And one of the things that I came across as I'm kind of preparing for this is that a healer, so we do subconscious reprogramming, we do work in the subconscious, we do healing in that area and stuff like that. My question was, is the healing up to, when you're working with a client, is the healing up to my belief system or their belief system? And me being the facilitator of that. What I found was you can be a more powerful healer if you know that it's really about your belief system and not necessarily about their belief system, which is fascinating. So I think how that relates in this situation, going through something like this with independence and with the world stage right now, it's about your position on how you can step into that. It's not about what the world is doing.
Okay.
Right? So it's about how you approach that thing.
Your perspective?
Not even your perspective, but the way that you move into it too.
Okay.
Right? So the same thing with healing is like the way that we facilitate that healing as healers, not how the client is necessarily their belief systems in that regard. So not what's going on in the world. In other words, I'm trying to like macro this, not what's going on in the world, but how you step into that thing and how you move through it. Does that make sense?
Yeah, and it refers back to what Nicole said about taking action too.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, that's great.
Yeah. I've got hi everyone in my YouTube chat. I've got you guys here so I can see you.
Hi guys.
Kimberly Paulson is just asking if we're going to talk about current events, or is it just law of attraction? She means no offense by it. She's just curious to ask. And I mean, I'm open to talking about world events.
Yeah. Let's talk about that.
Okay.
Let's talk about that. So, is that where you want to expand to next? Go into.
We can do a little bit of that, I think.
Okay, cool.
and for you guys in the chat, just like let us know like certain topics that you'd like us to kind of elaborate on or go a little deeper on, so we know. That'd be really helpful.
Yeah.
Yep.
Good call.
Same to the Trinity room here.
We're doing this for you guys, you know. So if you have any questions, concerns, just let us know in the chat.
Cool. So what do you think about, Nicole, what do you think about, let's start with because it's kind of a broad topic. What do you think about the virus itself?
There's so many things to, to go into, because, you know, when you look at the actual structure of what a virus is, you know, all a virus is toxic excretions from a cell that's been over-poisoned. So, you know, is the flu really something you can catch? Is COVID-19 really something you can catch? Because by the definition of what a virus is, you're not supposed to catch it from anyone. It's just that your body's been overly poisoned. It starts releasing these toxins, and you start to get, I guess, flu-like symptoms in some ways.
Yeah.
So there's that. And so then the topic then comes, well, then what causes the over-poisoning of the cells? And, you know, you can go into a whole host of different things. It could be the food that you're eating, the water that you're drinking, or anything that you're drinking. It could be the air that you're breathing. It could be electric frequencies. You know, everyone's really concerned about the 5G. And, you know, I was watching a really interesting video on this guy's theory of what the COVID, that thing that's like
the CV.
Yeah. So that these viruses, or these widespread viruses, occur every time the Earth's magnetic frequency gets changed dramatically.
Oh wow!
And that when the time when they put all the satellites in the air, like that screwed up, and then there was like widespread viruses and flu epidemics across the planet. We're right now in the last 6 months, what's happened? There's been huge 5G installations, and where was the epicenter? Wuhan. And so like, yeah,
totally.
There's a lot of that. So I don't think that it's not real. Like there's definitely something out there. But I don't know exactly like how to classify it.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts?
Yeah, it's a deep one. So I think it's all energy. I think that I don't know a lot about viruses, like how they work and what they do. I do know that your body is a healing machine. So I think that, and it's an electromagnetic healing machine too. So I think that if you're aware of certain things, even if you were to catch the CV, I think you can override it pretty easy. And I'd be willing to say, like, I rarely get sick. It's been about 5 years since I've gotten sick. But January, like mid-January, I got real sick. And it was like really, really strange. And it was all the symptoms that they describe. And I got over it like in a week. And then it came back for a little while, just like they described. And I'm like, okay, think it was that. And then I've been doing some research, and a lot of people say that they got sick around that time, and who knows if it's the flu or what it is. But what I'm saying is, you don't have to fear that. Your body is a healing machine.
Right.
How does it heal? Well, okay. Let's first look at how it doesn't heal. It doesn't heal because there is toxicities in the way. It doesn't heal because there's a belief system that is misplaced. That could be a toxicity as well. It's just a mental or a energetic toxicity. Mm-hmm. How does it heal? Remove the toxicity, and it gets back to normal. So there are a lot of ways that you can do that, through vitamins, through natural remedies, through energy healing, through meditation. So I think that when it comes to where we lose sovereignty is through the fear. And I think the fear is really coming from the unknown. In this particular event, there are many, many, many unknowns. What's going to happen economically? What's going to happen to our health? What's going to happen to our jobs? It doesn't really matter if you go inwards and if you start to filter these things through your personal belief system. So you start to lose the positive and the negative, and I like to describe it as you become a vehicle. You become a person that loves the process instead of loves the destination, mm-hmm. right? Mm-hmm. Because if you love the destination, you're going to constantly go through positives and negatives. So how do you override this whole thing? It's pretty simple. You just enjoy the process. You just go inwards, and if you happen to get the CV, you do what you can to heal yourself. Don't panic. Don't go into fear, etc. What do you think about that, Nicole?
No, I absolutely agree with you. I think that is probably one of the most important things to do, is that act of surrender, which is embracing the moment, embracing everything exactly how it is. Doesn't mean you have to love it, but when you embrace it and you're
right.
like, okay, this is what's happening right now. I'm going to flow with this and see where it takes me, and what is available to me that maybe I'm not even seeing. Like, mm-hmm. where are the blessings hidden in here? Yeah. And I think that that's really important. And that when you were talking about that idea of healing, and gosh, you said something and I wanted to touch on it because it was a really cool thing that you said, and now it's like left my mind.
We'll find it.
My whole brain is fried, but I think it's really important to get in touch with all aspects of yourself: physical, mental, emotional, spiritual, and keep everything in harmony with one another. So constant communication is important. Feed your body what it needs to be fed. Feed your mind healthy things, like turn off the news, and then check your emotions. Be around emotionally supportive people. I mean, if you're stuck with a family that you don't like right now in your social distancing, then that could be hard, but spend more time with yourself. Use it as an opportunity to go into meditation and connect spiritually, but also check the emotions of your emotional body. Where are they going? Because oftentimes in situations like this, it triggers emotions we're not even aware of until we have a moment to check in, and we have so much time to check in right now. And those can provide deeper levels of healing if you start to go into that subconscious programming and start to root out some of the stuff that, had this event not happened, you may have not even known was there.
Absolutely.
Good point.
And consider this too, like, we literally go to the gym to cause pain in the body to grow.
Yep.
Right? So this is going to be a little bit emotional and spiritual pain, maybe physical pain too, but know what's on the other side of that is growth. So that's kind of how I override the system when it comes to like negative situations, like painful situations, is like, okay, I'm going to go through this level of pain, whether it was financially or relationships. Every single time that I was in that situation where a massive amount of pain hit me, addiction, the list goes on and on the other side was the most impactful thing that's ever happened in my life.
Yeah.
Right?
Absolutely.
What do you think?
As far as the CV, it's been interesting, really, really interesting. And my background is in nursing, actually. So I've dealt a lot with, the way things are transmitted and how to use sterile technique and not touch this or that and all sorts of mask stuff and gloves and everything is like, second nature. And I've also seen a lot of people in my life really sick and stay really sick and have a reflection in their, what is the word I'm looking for? Their outlook on their situation. And I've seen such clear reflection in the outlook of someone and what they're expecting to happen and their belief in what's about to happen and how that transpires in their life, as far as making it worse a lot of times, making it better a lot of times. And aside from that, I'm a believer that our cells and every part of our entire body is constantly regenerating itself and constantly rebuilding itself with the nutrients that we put into it, with the movement that we do with it, with the amount of toxins we remove from it, and even more with the emotions that are flowing through it. So I literally use my mind to watch my body rebuilding itself every single day, and I know that everything I consume, including thoughts, emotions, conversations, the media, every single thing that I consume into my life is what's creating my new physical body and life experience.
Well, and think about this too. The word health has heal inside of it. Mm-hmm. Your health is dependent on your ability to heal itself. It's not really like my health is like I eat nothing but carrots every day and I eat spinach every day. No, it's your body's ability to heal itself. So you need to get it a little dirty here and there because it needs to know how to heal itself.
Oh,
right?
that's what I wanted to say. It's like the importance, like, don't be afraid of getting sick.
Yeah.
Because that is what your immune system needs to get stronger.
Yeah.
And when I was studying with a doctor studying live cell microscopy, he's like, the 80-20 rule applies here. He goes,
Nice.
Eat healthy 80% of the time, but 20% of the time, eat a burger if you want, have pizza, have that can of Coke if you really want it, because your body will then really strengthen and build its immunity. And it pulls me back to the TV show Married with Children. And do you remember when Peggy Bundy was eating her bonbons and she had a personal trainer and he was so healthy, and he ate one of her bonbons, or he had some of her
exactly,
and he died. And I just think about how, like, we got to remember the 80-20 rule. Your system needs dirt in it. It needs that every now and then in order for the immune system to stay active and to stay strong. So remember Peggy Bundy's trainer,
nice.
one of her bonbons, who is super healthy, when you are thinking like, I could really eat that burger right now. Like, go eat that burger.
Mm-hmm.
Totally, exactly.
Yeah, because it honestly, I've really, really, really clearly seen your belief in what happens with that burger or with that food, with your belief in your body's ability to process that and still remain the way you want it to look and feel it's a lot up here. So much of it. So yeah, eat, enjoy. And I must say, with you saying this, I think immediately the same with emotional stuff, right? You said getting sick makes you stronger. Experiencing some hard times, experiencing some emotions that you haven't felt before and things you need to learn how to navigate, it makes you stronger. You'll see the next time something comes up like this, you're going to be able to handle it. The next time these new emotions come up, you will constantly navigate more and more quickly through these new experiences if you embrace these times. They're stretching us all to grow.
Absolutely. So that kind of, I was thinking about this as you guys were talking. What do you guys think about this being the painful shock that the world needs to awaken? to awaken into, I guess, the energy side of things, to the more to themselves. What do you guys think about that? How about Nicole?
Yeah, so I was in meditation a couple weeks back, and the message that my guides came in and they showed me like the solar flash and everything, and they said, "You didn't think the awakening was really going to be a solar flash, did you?" And the solar flash is happening within each and every one of you.
Nice.
And so that's the awakening. And I do feel right now that what's happening is the beginning of a mass awakening across the planet. There's people that are starting to ask questions that I've never seen ask questions before. And they're starting, you look at the media too. The numbers are just dropping. Like no one wants to listen to them anymore. They're starting to realize it's all lies.
Yeah.
And I think it's because that the control, powers of control are so desperate now that their back is up against a wall, and they're fighting for their life.
Yeah.
And they're fighting for their life so much so that all rational thought is out the window, and they're just basically killing themselves.
Yep.
Yeah. I had a really interesting revelation about, I don't know, maybe 6 months ago, and we talked about it. We did a whole lesson on duality, and when we were doing that lesson, Amber and I went out to eat, and I had this like major download, and I was like, oh shit, sorry.
Where were we?
At Sweet Tomatoes.
Okay.
I was like, I started to understand Revelations a little bit better, talked about in the Bible, but I started to understand more specifically what they're talking about with World War III and end times and stuff like that. So I'll break it down in a very simple form here. What is Revelations? Everybody thinks that it's end times. But when you are revealed something, what happens? It's an end and a beginning at the same time, right? It's the end of an old way, the beginning of a new way.
Yeah.
Right? And I think that we're kind of in this right now. The second part to this is what I realized with World War III and what's talked about in Revelations is people think that this is a physical war. It's not. It's a mental and spiritual war, but it goes farther than that. I realized the major download was I realized that this is a mental and spiritual war in duality on the individual, which is, it's not on nations, it's on the individual. But the war is there to cause the awakening.
Nice.
So it's the end of the old way of this dual perspective of like, this has to be positive, this has to be negative. To awaken to everything is positive and negative at the same time, to see the world really what it is and to experience it from the inside projected out, right? It's a war on the individual to cause the awakening, not to defeat the individual, but to cause the awakening.
Awesome.
Right?
That's
I was
exciting.
Like stunned.
I love that.
Yeah.
No, yeah. That's exactly how I see it. I think there are many of us who had it within our soul blueprints to awaken ahead of this, because there needs to be people in place who have the not just the courage, but the deeper understanding and knowledge of how to navigate the inner awakening. When all these people start awakening, like, remember, the awakening process, it ain't pretty.
No.
It's not nice. And, some people talk about it like it's rainbows and unicorns, and it's not that at all. And we have to remember that. We have to remember how painful it can be, because basically your entire truth as you know it is crumbling to the ground, like the tower in the tarot deck. And now the star comes in after the tarot. And who's the star? All the star beings, all the star children, all of the star seeds are coming in here to help build up the real truth, the foundation that many of these people are going to need to understand how to build for themselves.
Oh my gosh.
It's amazing.
That's so beautiful.
So time to step up, people.
Yeah.
Yeah, seriously.
Time to step up. I've been having so many clear visions of the moments when we all chose to come here at this time, which I recognize is my own personal belief system, which some will agree with, lots will agree with, but I just feel like, oh my goodness, what a magical time to be a human right now. You know? Mm-hmm. We didn't know 2 months ago what we would be facing in this time. And we're here to shine a light, like you said. Just a couple steps ahead of someone else just beginning to navigate this journey for themselves. You know?
Yeah. Deep stuff.
Yeah.
All right, so with the awakening, obviously I think we're kind of in a pain phase right now.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's accurate.
Kind of.
But from your experience, like, how do you get through that pain phase? How do you push through it? How do you push through it?
I don't think you push through it. I think you surrender to it.
Yeah.
I think when you talked about that whole idea of like not fearing this whole situation, like embracing it, is basically how you have to embrace your pain, your sorrow, your sadness, because it's there for a reason. It's, you know, I firmly believe that this human experience is something that not many beings sign up for.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy.
If you're down here, you got balls of steel, okay?
Yeah. Seriously.
And what you're going through, the understanding the experiences of duality, especially when you go to the extremes in suffering and pain, the reason why we experience it is so that we can understand the opposite as well.
Right. Mm-hmm.
And there's just so much to learn and bring back. If you don't, I think this, okay, tell me what you guys think about this. And you guys in the chat, I want your feedback on this.
Yeah,
okay?
please.
I'm in the Trinity room too.
Okay, I believe that we are surrogates for a lot of our starseed family or star family that is anywhere else in the galaxy, the universes, the multiverse, and that we're feeding back information to them through our experiences that they still don't know the information. You know, when we have these channelers, and I channel as well, and I'm sure you guys get information, and I have many friends who channel. The information that comes through is great, but the information that we experience is also getting channeled back to them. Like, do we really think that we're not teaching them, that we're not providing intel and information to them through our own experiences?
Great point.
I firmly believe we are. Because you don't ever really truly know anything until you experience it.
Wow.
And this whole Earth experience is pretty wild.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'd be curious to know what your thoughts are, and anyone in the chat on that.
It gives me so much clarity personally. I haven't thought that process through the way that you have, and I absolutely love it. It gives me clarity on what I receive, because I personally channel the angelic more than any other spirit realm. And all I can tell you is that every time I express gratitude, speak through me, you know, please continue to speak through me, use my voice in any way. There's just so much gratitude back that it's almost like they're saying, no, Amber, you don't understand. We appreciate you. But I never really knew why. I mean, of course, there's gratitude both ways. But with what you just said, it gives me so much insight as to the deeper level and the deeper meaning for that. So thank you for that.
Yeah, that's great.
Communication goes both ways. It's a constant exchange of receiving and giving. And I think this is so important for anyone who's listening to this and is so much trying to really connect with their own guidance team, their own family, above and beyond here on this planet, is to really know how important you are in this process, and to know how much your insight is needed, and to continuously tap into that so that you can exchange that insight back home. Because if there's anything that when I speak to my Palladium family, they feel everything I feel, everything. They feel my pain, and they can help alleviate some of that. But I do believe that we're all surrogates for a lot, and there's an exchange of intel. Like, if you think about it, like, we're kind of like, not spies in a way, but kind of.
That's cool.
We're humans, but we're starseeds, and it's like kind of incognito going around in this human meat suit. It's like, gotta send your intel back home, like, I think that's like how we look at it.
Oh my gosh, life just got more fun, didn't it?
Yeah,
That's
it did.
fun. That's cool. I can't wait to navigate through that. That's awesome.
So have hope in knowing that you are so important and that all of your insights are of value, and to not think that you need to connect with your family in order to understand what's going on down here. They need you to connect with them so they can understand what's going on down here.
Yeah.
That's great.
Well
From
stated.
your perspective, because your perspective is so important. It's unique. It's yours. No one else will have it. And so that's important to understand.
I love that.
That's great.
What do you guys, let us know. That's so beautiful. Let us know how that resonates.
Mike is saying he agrees with the concept. I'm just kind of going through the chat. Kind of went a little crazy here. So
perfect. We're getting definitely makes sense. Test subjects. Yep. Beautiful. Everyone's really feeling it. It's so beautiful having you guys here. Oh my gosh. Soul family for sure.
Yeah.
Great. I think that's a good place to cap it. How do you guys feel about that?
Yeah, I think so.
Well, I wanted to talk about one thing.
Yeah, let's do it.
Amber and I were talking about it before we went live, and we had a really cool synchronicity.
That's right.
Before we went live, and I think it's a good nugget for everyone to understand, especially if you want to work with people and you want to help out. Mm-hmm. Amber, why don't you start with like what you were getting just 10 minutes before we got on the call?
Yeah, absolutely. So I had received a question that basically said, what do you look for in a coach or a leader? How do you know, like, what are some of the things that people look for in a coach or a leader? And I responded, someone that is several steps ahead of me, although not so far ahead that they're not still incredibly passionate and working on the same things as me. And I only shared that with you after you and I jumped on and you shared with me what was your experience, literally probably the same few moments in time.
One of the biggest questions that comes up in my coaching calls with my clients is like who am I here to help, and like how do I know who my audience is, and like who's going to listen to me? Your future clients, okay, or anyone who you are going to help is the older version of you before you got to where you are today. It's the person who still wasn't fully awakened, still had a lot of healing to go through. It's basically like you maybe, well, it really depends on time. I could say 10, 20 years ago, but it's who you were before you got to where you were. So your audience is you. And the reason why that's so important to understand is because people connect with stories. They don't connect with your information. They connect with your stories. And that's why it's so important for me to do my Raw and Real series and get really vulnerable with people, is because that's really what's happening in my life. And I want people to know that there's still pain and I'm still working through, like you said, Amber, it's like, I want to know that they're still passionate and they're going through some of the stuff that I'm going through.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I very much am. And, it's important to have knowledge. It's important to have that wisdom, but you've also got to have the stories. And we've all got stories that we've gone through, our own journeys of pain, that your own hero's journey is present in your life. And when you can connect with that and you can speak from that place, all of the people that you want to help are going to start to show up.
That's right.
And that to me is like a really valuable, when I understood that and heard that, I was like, well, that just makes so much sense. Mm-hmm. So much sense.
Mm-hmm.
That's great.
Yeah, when you step out of the analysis of that, maybe of that question, and you just show up as the fullest version of you, you just become a magnet to like-minded people. It's just all
Yeah.
about sharing, getting out there and being yourself, right?
But also, like, not just talking about like all the amazing things that you're doing now because you are, but really still connecting with where you started.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because sometimes people can't connect with that level of forwardness or like success that you may have achieved. Like when I talk about success, I mean on all levels: emotional success, relationship success, whatever it is.
Yeah.
But they may be like, well, that's just too far ahead of like where I'm at right now.
Yep.
People want to know you're human. And they want to know you're just like them.
Mm-hmm.
And it's important to connect with that part of you and to never lose that part. And so connect with that part of you and ask just like, what are my stories, and put them out. Like this is a perfect action thing that you can take right now in this, when we talk about building your own hope and building your own independence, about like becoming that better version of yourself, is to go and look it up, because then you see all of your successes to date. You get to see where you came from. You know, like sometimes, like, I know, so I've heard a couple people say this, that, you know, they look back into their journals or their diaries and it makes them really uncomfortable when they read like, wow, I was in a really screwed up place, you know, like I was really messed up then. And some people want to throw the journals away. Some people want to burn them. You know, I think it's really important to honor that. It's about, when we talk about that idea of embracing, like, wow, like when I think about it, I'm like, well, that girl got me to here. Those experiences and that mindset is what allowed me to get all the way over to here and learn whatever I needed to do. And, you know, we don't want to disconnect with any of that, because it's all part of us. When we talk about soul fragmentation and trying to heal all of the disconnected parts of us back together, why are we going to disconnect from our pain? You can disconnect from it in a sense of like it having power over you, but you don't want to disconnect from it actually being part of you. Right. It's just, now it's transmuted. It's different. You look at the pain with gratitude as a lesson, as a teacher. Now you don't look at it as like this thing that happened to you. And, you know, like it's important to always stay connected, because this process of union is about remedying separation, and trying to separate from those older parts of us is like going backwards.
Totally.
I'd even say that the disconnection from the pain from the past and those moments is what causes the most pain. And that when you do bring them closer and embrace them and heal with them and embody them as a part of you, it can create magic. I've seen it many times. So I think it's the disconnection from it and the pushing away of it and the fear of it is what causes the suffering in it.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. And so I think we just need to be mindful of when we get to these more healed places, to not be afraid of that, you know, that broken person within who like was really, you know, really needing love and really didn't like themselves, and just to keep loving it and telling you're still here with me, and we're gonna just, you know, just find that gratitude.
Yeah. Beautiful, Nicole. Thank
Amazing.
you so much.
This was so much fun. I love talking to you guys.
Yeah.
I do too.
Yeah, absolutely.
Wow.
Great discussion.
Great to bring the families together too, by the way. It's great. Very cool.
All right.
Absolutely.
Is there any other questions coming in?
Let's see.
I don't know.
If not, we can cap it there. I think that's a good jump off.
I think that's a beautiful, beautiful time.
Yeah.
Tapping into your own inner wellspring. What does wellspring mean to you, Nicole?
Oh. You know, so when we were talking about this and coming up with the title of the show, I was shown in my mind's eye like this, almost like they kept just like showing me the fountain of youth breaking through the surface of the ground and like spilling over. And it's about really, for all of us, it's about tapping into the hidden beauty and inspiration that stays deep, deep, deep below, because we're so consumed with what we got to do in the next hour, who we got to call, like what's my next like thing on my calendar, or and now we've got that time and space to really kind of sit with it and like, oh, what's in there, what's down there, like what can I like allow to break through the surface and utilize right now that I haven't had the time to really utilize.
Yeah.
So it's like that energy of inspiration and passion for life.
Beautiful. Diving deep.
What about you guys?
I'm so glad you shared that story right now. Thank you. Because when you described it as we were planning, I was just like, that is so beautiful. I could feel it deep inside. It's the core where we're afraid to go sometimes, where we have nothing but time to do right now. It's the gateway to everything, is going inside as deep as possible, not being afraid to sit still. People have so much trouble doing that. I myself, I have to purposefully do it.
I used to also, and then I had the experience in the what's it called, sensory deprivation tank.
Oh yes, float tanks.
The float tank. Oh my God, it's amazing.
Yeah.
Talk about an inner Wellspring.
Yeah, seriously.
Yeah.
It'll change your life.
I heard when you finally tap into that, you'll know it because you've hit spiritual pay dirt.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Very nice.
You'll know. It's undeniable, the feeling when you really tap into that. So start digging.
Yep. We're all in this together.
Yeah. Let's have some fun.
Until next time.
All right. Yeah, I think that'll...
Thanks.
Thank you so much, Nicole. Thank you for everyone who joined us.
Where can people find you? Your YouTube channel?
Yeah, my YouTube channel is just my name, Nicole Frolic, and my website is inflexibleme.com.
Great.
And to my audience, where can they find you guys?
TheTrinityRoom.com, or we have a giveaway, TrinityRoomGift.com.
Gift.
That's a free taste test in what we do with subconscious reprogramming and energy work. And on Facebook, it's Trinity or
The Trinity Room.
Yeah.
Yep. All right, everyone. We are with you through this time. Like I said, we're all in this together. And until next time, have a beautiful night.
Thank you.